our case study presentation is ethics and marketing. So, next slide. Let me introduce my group members. I'm Wilson, and these are my 12 other members. And next slide. Before our presentation, I would like to introduce our case. For local case, we will introduce the Chagi Malaysia case. I know Chagi is China brand, but since this case happened in Malaysia before, so we count it as local case. And for another one, international case is Amazon Prime subscription case. This case involves the dark pattern in digital marketing. So I will pass the floor to Sam to introduce the Chagi case.
So, as you know, our local case, we have chosen Chagi Malaysia, and the case involved is controversial tear and win campaign. Next slide. So, Chagi is a global premium beverage brand that originates from China and is very popular among milk tea lovers. The issue began during Chagi Malaysia's 7th anniversary promotion event in November 2024. Whereby the company launched a tear and win campaign where customers could stand a chance to win attractive prizes through specially prepared drinking cups. However, the campaign later became controversial after a viral video surfaced online where a Chagi employee was seen separating the cups that contained the winning prizes from the regular one. Not only that, the video also claimed that the employee has hidden the winning cups at the back of the store rather than randomly distributing it to the customers. Which means to say, the promotion event is actually fake and this is actually a bad marketing ethics. Next. So following on with the controversy, the situation later became even more serious when Chagi threatened to take legal action against individuals who shared the viral video online. The company also demanded immediate removal of the videos from all the social media platforms. As a result, publics were very dissatisfied and netizens began calling for a boycott of Chagi Malaysia. Next, I will now pass the floor to Poi.
Thanks, Samuel. So from an ethical perspective, there are 3 key issues. First of all, according to Aristotle virtual ethics, a virtuous business owner should act ethically because honesty and fairness should be the things that they consider and not just focusing on profit. At the same time, manipulating the outcome or the promotion also shows dishonesty and also unfairness, which then affect the company's reputations and also their moral integrities. So in this case, Chagi Malaysia, they should ensure honesty in sales and also to provide equal chances for all the customers in the promotions. However, because they manipulated the outcome and also the promotions, it then creates a lot of negative effects such as deceptions and also it violating the customer trust that potentially causes the legal issues and also reputational issues. So moving on to the next slide, you can see that threatening the whistleblower is actually unethical because it discourages people from exposing wrongdoing and also it reduces the transparencies. It also affects the public trust because it shows that the company, they prioritize their own image rather than doing the right things. So moving on to the next slide. According to the Kant's theory, moral action should be based on duty and also their respect to the others, not just self-interest. But what Chagi Malaysia did is actually they used their own power to silence the whistleblower instead of respecting their right to free expressions, which violating the human dignity and also the ethical duties. So lastly, for the next slide, the employee behaviors actually shows the weaknesses of Chagi's organizational values because openly manipulating the contest shows poor supervision, weak ethical environment, and also it shows that they have a lack of strong organizational values, allowing unethical behavior to occur repeatedly. And the Hans-Peter theory also shows that this is not just a bad apple case, but it's actually a failure of ethical decision-making process. And I'll now pass the floor to Faris.
Thank you, Poi. In mid-November 2024, Chagi issued a public apology statement which leaves everyone's feelings in a mixed state. they also didn't even mention the legal threats they made against others, which, as if they never even treat the legal threat, never existed at all. But regardless, they did, however, change the tag and win method into a scratch and scan QR code as a way to be more transparent with others, and of course to avoid from this happening ever again. And despite everything that has ever happened, they still continue to expand Indonesia as if nothing ever happens. I'll pass back to Sam.
Thank you, Faris. So now moving on to the solution. We have some solutions for Chargy scandal, and first of all, is external validation. We suggest hiring an external independent auditing firm such as PwC or KPMG to verify any future tear and win event process. This is because there was once a similar scandal in the past, which is the MACD Pill to Win Monopoly game scandal, whereby the grand prize was apparently stolen. The full detail you can find in Google, so here I don't have to explain everything. So due to that incident, any future ceiling of prizes will now have to be strictly audited by an independent external legal auditing firm. So secondly, we suggest Chargy to establish a secure and anonymous reporting hotline that is managed by a third party. So this is to allow both customers and employees to report any operational failures or any unethical behavior without the fear of intimidation or retaliation. A real-life example is Starbucks. Starbucks has their own whistleblower system, which is known as Starbucks Webline, whereby this is managed by a third-party provider. This is to ensure that if there are any issues being reported via the webline, Starbucks management wouldn't be able to trace back on who made the report. So the third solution is that Chargy should conduct comprehensive ethics training program to all their outlet staff and managers and even their franchisees. The purpose of this is to focus on treating customers with honesty rather than just a mean to generate revenue or to promote the brand core value. So that is all for the solution, and that is all for the local case.
Okay, now moving to the international case, we'll examine on Amazon Prime. So the core of this issue is the strategy designed to lure, trap, and confuse the user into auto subscriptions. Next slide. So before we start, what is Amazon? So Amazon is a US-based global e-commerce and tech giant, dominates the online retail through its Amazon Prime services. However, in June 2023, the US Federal Trade Commission's FTC had filed a massive lawsuit exposing Amazon's use of dark pattern, which is manipulative in their UI designs in the digital marketing. So the customers were tricked into auto-renewing their subscriptions, and the cancellation process was deliberately designed as a confusing and multi-page maze to stop them from leaving. Next slide. So, this unethical practice has triggered a ripple effect. So first, the lawsuit. The FTC sued Amazon for consumer law violations after the leaked documents revealed that the cancellation sabotage was completely intentional, and the regulators immediately demanded an end to the manipulations. And this has sparked a public outrage and global regulatory scrutiny as the consumers felt deeply manipulated and trapped by the system. Next, I'll pass to Izzy.
Okay, thank you. So on to the ethical issues. The first one is basically the infringement of consumer autonomy. So Amazon uses digital interface to bypass our consent. So we don't give our consent. I mean, you press accept, but that's not really explicit consent. So it just uses into this financial obligation that we don't really want. So based on the theories, we can use Kant's theory, Kant's ethics of beauty first of all. So an action is only right if it is motivated by goodwill and you respect a person's free choice. So by using deceptive design tactics and by bypassing its free choice, Amazon technically does not appreciate consumer autonomy. So they treat us as tools and as means to an end for their own financial profit. And then on the same issue, next slide please. We can also use the consumer ethics theory. So this can be considered as a benchmark for the global fair market. So consumers would always try to do the right actions, and they will also try to set reasonable boundaries with each other. But this is a bit hard to apply when your sellers are, intentionally sabotaging all these processes. So for Amazon example, they exploit us. They really don't care about how we accept it. We're just like, okay, you have to accept this case, and this technically undermines the integrity of our transparent buyer and seller relationship. Okay. On to the next issue is the intentional sabotage of cancellation. So Amazon doesn't just make you auto-subscribe, it also makes it very hard for you to stop the subscription itself. So they make it such a maze and such a hassle for us to cancel our subscription that we just sometimes don't even bother, and they take advantage of that. So using utilitarianism, it talks about where the actions can be measured, and it has to be a balance and of the greater good. But for the case of this digital Amazon marketing, if you really try to measure it, it actually is mostly negative. I mean, yes, Amazon does get a profit, but at what cost? At the cost of all the consumers and their own financial well-being. So Amazon has prioritized their own corporate utility without considering and maximizing our consumers' pain and distress. Right, that's all for the issues.
Okay, so next I will continue about the recent updates of Amazon. So in September 2025, Amazon has lost its defense in a landmark case, entering a $2.5 billion settlement with the FTC. So this including $1 billion of the government fines and also $1.5 billion of the customer refunds. So the automatic payout up to $51 has begun in late 2025, and the official claim site launching in recent January. So crucially, the senior vice presidents has faced their personal liability after the internal leaks that prove that they ignore the frontline employees' warning to get into the issues. So today, the Amazon has successfully updated the subscription page to a symmetrical and also transparent designs.
Okay, so the FTC settlement required Amazon to pay refund, but the 2.5 million check won't fix its internal culture. So to truly recover, Amazon need a proactive action plan. So first, we propose an immediate shift to the symmetrical UX design. Looking at the industry leader like Netflix, which uses a straightforward two-click cancellation process, which means that Amazon should also prioritize on user intent over retention frictions. Just as Amazon invented in one-click buying, they should also make exiting equally effortless. So under Kant's ethics of duty, this change actually respect the customer's autonomy and choice rather than treating them solely as a revenue tools. And second, Amazon should also improve their internal governance. So the frontline employees, they actually raised the concerns about the deceptive designs, but their warnings were ignored. So to address this issue, Amazon should establish the UX ethics review boards, models after the Google's ethical AI team. So applying the Hunt Vital theory, this board actually given the power to the UI team to veto manipulative flow before they come to life. So this also forced Amazon to weigh the consequences for all stakeholders. So as you can see, these two structural changes will certainly help to repair the public trust, rebuild the operational integrity, and prove that Amazon is still one of the most customer-centric companies. Now I'll pass to Michelle.
So this is our reference. That's all from us. Thank you for listening to our presentation today. I will pass the floor to Nicole for the interactive section.
Okay, so now we have finished our presentation, and now we'll move on to the interactive activity. So I would like to request all of you to scan this QR code above to sign up for the Kahoot quiz. So you have around 30 seconds to do that, yeah?